my lovelies, welcome to today's reading vlog. I'm Victoria. Hello, hi if you're new here, welcome. If you enjoy bookish content, you have come to the right place. Please grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, hot chockey, just a nice warm beverage. It is so dark and gloomy today, so I do apologise about the lighting. I've got the big light on, because if I don't, there will be no light in this video, and I don't have a fancy ring light. So we are going with what we are given, which is this. I hope that's okay. If you didn't know, couldn't tell from the title, today we are going to be doing a romance themed reading vlog, which I'm so excited about. February is definitely the month of love. Not only is there Valentine's Day, but for me personally, I also have my anniversary with my partner, and it's also my partner's birthday this month. So lots of celebrating with my partner in the month of February, and I just thought what better way to celebrate the love energy than to do a romance themed reading vlog. So that's what I'm doing. And I have already started the first book of this vlog. Let me pop my tea down. That is The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. I'm gonna be honest, I picked this book up purely because of the cover and the sprayed edges. I saw it and I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous, and I just was like, you're coming home with me. Yes, you are. So I have only just started it yesterday. I'm only 42 pages in, which is chapter 6. But the plot of this story is we are following our main character, Delphi. She is 27 years old and she's lived a pretty kind of standard life. We do get a little bit of a glimpse into her past. Had a little bit of an upsetting past, bullying in school, and then essentially abandonment by her parents, but she's kind of just going through life. She works as a pharmacist, and she's just, she's never really done anything or been with anyone. And the start of this book, we open up to her dying. And that is not a spoiler. Like I said, it's on the back of the book. It's literally the first thing that happens. She wakes up in the afterlife to her afterlife therapist. And while it's very admin-y, very office-y, the afterlife. And her afterlife therapist, while she is there, basically kind of explains the fact that you passed on, you're dead, welcome to the afterlife. And as this happens, a gentleman stumbles in who has also passed into the afterlife, and there is an instant connection, an instant spark between him and Delphi. They kind of start to talk and hit it off, and as this happens, the afterlife therapist comes out of her office and goes, "Sorry sir, you're not actually meant to be here, it's not your time yet, bye-bye," and sends him back to life. And Delphi's like, what? There was something there. And she's like, I would, like, send me back. You just sent him back. Can't you send me back with him? Like, I think he was my soulmate. And the afterlife therapist was like, yeah, I think he was your soulmate as well. Sucks to be you. And Delphi's like, but why? She strikes up a deal with her afterlife therapist, so she will be sent back to life for 10 days. And in those 10 days, she needs to find the man she just met, get him to fall for her first and kiss her of his own free will, and he has no recollection of them meeting in the afterlife, and she only has 10 days to achieve all this. If she doesn't achieve it, she'll be sent back to the afterlife, and that's that. Yeah, like I said, I've only just started. I am enjoying it so far. It's quite a fun, very rom-com-y-esque kind of book. The only current downside that I currently have with it is the afterlife therapist. I'm not her biggest fan. I thought she was very kind of cliche, and like when a character tries to be too quirky, it was a bit like that. And then also they made a bit of a thing about the fact that Delphi had never been intimate with someone before, and personally I just really didn't think that was necessary. Okay, mention the fact that she's never had a partner and never been intimate with someone, because I guess that's part of her character plot, whatever. But the way it was handled, I didn't really like. Kind of, not exactly shaming her, but kind of making a big deal out of it. And it's just like, if someone chooses to not be intimate because it's something that they don't desire and don't want, that's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. And I don't know, I just feel like in this day and age, we're more accepting of that, and it just wasn't really reflected in that part of the book. So I'm kind of hoping that's gonna be left alone. Like, obviously it might be brought up again, like intimacy, blah blah blah, but I just didn't like how that was first originally handled. But I'm still gonna read it, hopefully still enjoy it. I'm kind of hoping it's going to be a quick, lighty, breezy, rom-com-y read. This is the first book of the reading vlog. I'll obviously update you and let you know how it goes. But apart from that, today is a pretty chill day. I've got a nail appointment at 1:30 and I think it's like nearly 11. So I've got a couple of hours to kill. But yeah, that's really all I have planned today. So I was thinking I'm just going to read, drink my tea, probably finish watching some YouTube. I am watching, where's my partner's Xbox? I'm watching Ellen Miller's most recent reading vlog where she finds 5-star reads, which is, we love that. We love it when someone finds a 5-star read. So I'm going to finish that, I'm going to read some more, I'm going to drink my tea, I'm going to chill, head to my nail appointment. And yeah, I will update you and let you know how it goes. Happy Love Month, everybody! Good morning, my lovelies. So it is the next day, and as you can tell, I'm in my Jimmy Jams. I have not really gotten out of bed at all. All I've really been doing this morning is reading, and I am now pretty much at the halfway point of The Love of My Afterlife, and I thought I would give a update because I'm enjoying this. It's like, it's not a crazy, you know, super deep, out of this world story, but it's just like a fun rom-com and I'm having a really good time with it, and it has taken a little bit of a turn that I wasn't expecting. Nothing crazy, but yeah, it's kind of taken a bit of a direction that I wasn't really expecting, which has been quite fun. I can't really say much without spoiling it. So, and I don't want to spoil it in case anybody decides that they want to read it, but it is just like a fun rom-com. The writing, again, it's not like crazy out of this world writing, but it's like, it's making me laugh, it's making me giggle. I really relate to our main character Delphi, like, a lot. And one of the things that has been kind of highlighted in this book is something that I really relate to, and that is how when things in your past can have such an effect on you today. And one of the things that has kind of been highlighted in this book is how the bullying that our main character goes through during the school, even though it happened like over 10 years ago, it still very much influences how she reacts to certain things and how she thinks about certain things. Even at the age of 27, like, she still has such low confidence. She instantly thinks that, like, everybody is kind of laughing at her or looking at her in a negative way or in a weird way, or, you know, thinks she's weird or like looking down on her, like, because of the bullying she went through. That is kind of like her instinctive go-to reaction just with everybody, and that's kind of why she has been very solitary throughout her whole life and very isolated and introverted. And I've never read a book where that has been highlighted before. I very much relate to that, you know. It's been over 10 years since I've left school, but I still to this day think of moments and memories of things that happened during my school years that influence and affect me to this day. And I'd never seen that been highlighted before. So seeing that in this book just made me feel very seen. That was quite a nice kind of theme to read about. There's a couple of characters, or a few, there's like 3 characters that have been introduced that I'm really enjoying. They're bringing out a kind of side to Delphi that she's still trying to fight a little bit. They're kind of cracking open the hard shell that she's kind of encased herself in over the last however many years of her life. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun rom-com. It's got themes of friendship. It's got themes of like self-acceptance and self-love. There's another character, Mr. Yoon, who's Delphi's neighbour. And he's like an elderly man that she basically cares for and looks after. And their relationship and their friendship is just, it's too pure, it's too cute for this world. Mr. Yoon is adorable, and Delphi just so selflessly cares for him. And it's just too cute. Yeah, there's so much more depth to Delphi through the way she treats those close in her life, and you see that. I don't know what else more I can say. I probably think the next time I update you will be my final thoughts, because I am kind of just breezing through this book. I'm having a really good time with it. I don't have anything much planned today. All I really want to do is read. So that is exactly what I intend to do. And I am obsessed with my nails. Aren't they just so cute? I just think they're so cute. I love them. Hopefully I'll be dressed by the time you next see me. Yeah, like I said, I'm at the halfway point. I would love to finish this today. So I will hopefully update you very soon. For Christmas, my partner and I got his dad this Bosch coffee machine, and we got me these Cadbury's hot chocolates to have in them. And every time I've made one, my partner's done it, but he's at work and I'm here on my own. But I really, really want one. So this is my first time using it on my own. I apologise in advance to to my father-in-law if it goes horrendously wrong. I think all I need to know is that there's water in the side, and then I put my cup under and I pop the thing in, and Bob's your uncle, it's all good. Turning it on is probably a good idea. Oh, okay. Light, let there be light. That's a good first sign. Perfect. Right, I need to put you down. Where am I actually going to put you? Okay. So this goes in like that. sometimes half the battle is making sure my phone doesn't fall. Okay, so I have already filmed this, but the camera angle was shocking, the lighting was terrible, and I had just finished the book, and I really need to stop giving reading updates as soon as I finish the book, because I'm just a blabbering mess and my sentences make zero sense. So I slept on it, and now I'm here to give you my off to a great start. Final thoughts on The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. I actually really enjoyed this book. I gave it a final rating of 3.5 stars. This book hits so many topics, but it's kind of blanketed in the classic cheesy rom-com style. I forget how much I actually enjoy romance books, like just pure romance books. I eat them up every time, and yet it's a genre that I tend to kind of semi-avoid. Why? I don't know, because I seem to really enjoy them. This book, okay, even though it took a little bit of a detour to what I was expecting, I did pick up pretty quickly where the story was going to go, but that didn't take away from my enjoyment of the actual plot and the actual story. And there's so much more to this than it just being like a silly, funny, magical realism rom-com. Okay. Words, Victoria. Words, thoughts and feelings. Our main character, Delphi, I related to her so much. I definitely, to this day, think of moments that happened to me during my school years. Again, that happened over 10 years ago, but it still affects how I do certain things in my life to this day. And just seeing that kind of be touched upon just made me feel really seen, and that was really, really nice. And I definitely don't think I will be the only person that relates to that and feels seen by that kind of thing. The other thing, kind of, I guess, which is kind of obvious, grief is touched upon in this book. It's not a super heavy theme, but it's definitely touched upon, and I think it was touched upon, again, in a very delicate way. Another way that this book really hit home for me is because it didn't just talk about grief in actually losing someone to, you know, to them passing on, but also grieving relationships that have ended, not just romantic, but just relationships in general, like friendships, parent children relationships. Like, there's more than one way of grieving, and this book kind of explores all of them, but it mostly explores grieving relationships that have ended and grieving your past and who you were. Yeah, there's so much more to this book than it just being a fun rom-com. And it is a fun rom-com. Like, I definitely had moments where I was kicking my feet and giggling and squealing and laughing at like the cheesiness of it, which I am happy to say wasn't too cheesy and too corny. There is one character, that same character, who she does kind of appear in the book every now and then. She was probably the weakest part of the book for me personally, but it wasn't to the point where I wasn't enjoying the book anymore and I wanted to stop reading it. It wasn't like that at all. Yeah, I think the writing style was fun and light-hearted. It was an easy read. I think for fast readers, you'll get through this very quickly. I'm not the fastest reader. It took me a couple of days to read this, but considering it took me less than a week to read this book, for me that's very fast reading. So I am definitely intrigued by this author's other works, but I'm not like jumping to read her other works. I just really enjoyed this book. It was a great way to start off my romance reading journey for this month. I really enjoyed it, highly recommend it, especially if you are someone in your 20s who feels like you kind of wasted your life, you feel like you haven't really achieved or done anything, because our main character Delphi, she's kind of just plodding through her life. She's not really done anything. She's never really left London. She's quite a recluse, very introverted, keeps to herself, doesn't socialise, and she's kind of just trundling on through life. And something this book kind of highlights is there is beauty in the mundane and there is beauty in the everyday. And there's a lot of depth to our character Delphi. There's so much more to her than she allows people to see. Because of her past, she's put up these very strong walls, and so to a stranger or someone she's just met, she probably seems very kind of closed off and potentially maybe rude and things like that, but her as a person, she's actually very kind, very caring. The relationship with her and her neighbour, Mr. Yoon, had me just... There were moments like I had tears in my eyes. I didn't cry, I wasn't in like tears, but there were definitely moments between her and Mr. Yoon that just hit me deep. It hit me real deep. More than just a silly rom-com. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. It explores so much more than that. It explores friendships, it explores self-worth, self-love. It's okay to be afraid, it's okay to try new things, it's okay to let people in. Not everybody is going to turn on you, not everybody is going to abandon you. And it also highlights that some people just want to be in your life because they want to be in your life. Like, there is no ulterior motive, there's nothing else to it. They just want to be there because they want to be with you. And that's it. Yeah, this was such a fun read. If you're looking for just a quick, cheesy rom-com that's kind of got that underlining, deeper message to it, but isn't going to leave you absolutely heartbroken, I would highly recommend this book. So, that means we get to move on to the next book of this romance reading vlog. And I don't think anybody is going to be surprised by this, because if you have watched any of my previous vlogs, if you've been here for a little while, you would know that this next author, she's an auto-buy. Anything this woman writes, I will be picking it up and I will be reading it probably within 24 hours, because that seems to be the pattern that's occurring with this woman. And she released a new book at the start of the month. Did I buy it on release day? No, I actually bought it the day before, by accident. I walked into the works, I completely forgot that it was coming out, and they were stacking the shelves with it a day early. A day early. And I've already heard really good reviews about this book. I've been trying to avoid like any kind of spoilers or anything. But the next book in this reading vlog that I am so excited for is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Okay, I'm ready. I am ready. If you weren't aware, this book is about two Olympic college athletes. I say college, university athletes. We follow Scarlett and Lucas. I literally cannot tell you the plot. No idea what the plot is. Things get a bit steamy. I have heard this is her steamiest book, so that's going to be quite interesting to see, because she can get quite steamy in her previous book, so this is going to be interesting. And this is also her longest book. I think this is over 400 pages, and I'm pretty sure none of her other books are over like 350. So I am intrigued to see what the actual plot is of this book, because surely there has to be more to it than just two university Olympic swimmers getting it on, right? Surely there's got to be more to this actual plot. And like I said, I wish I could give you a summary of the plot. I can't. So Scarlett, she prefers to keep her head down, concentrating on getting into med school and on recovering from the injury that almost ended her career. Ooh, she has no time for relationships. At least that's what she tells herself. Sure, babes. Swim captain, world champion, all-around aquatics golden boy, Lucas Blum... I'm gonna have to... Nope, cannot pronounce that. Thrives on discipline. On the surface, Lucas and Scarlett have nothing in common until a well-guarded secret slips out and everything changes. So they start an arrangement, and as the pressure leading to the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. It was supposed to be just a temporary, mutually satisfying fling, but when staying away from Lucas becomes impossible, Scarlett realises that her heart might be treading into dangerous water. I wonder what this well-guarded secret is. I am intrigued. I am also loving the inside art that we have. A little bit saucy, I love that. Yeah, so if I follow the trend of my previous Ali Hazelwood reads, I should be getting through this within 24 hours. Whether that will happen, I don't know. I think the only other book that I didn't do that with is Check and Mate. I think it took me like 2 days to read that. I don't know why, because that's a YA, and I don't know. But this is a slightly bigger book. It's bigger than The Love of My Afterlife by, I want to say, like 100 pages. So we'll just have to see how quickly I get through this. But if it's like any other Ali Hazelwood, I'm going to fly through this. And I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna stop squealing and talking about it, and I'm just gonna read it. Okay, I will talk to you guys when I have an update for you. It's weird seeing my name in a book. It's weird. What? Wait a minute. I have thoughts and I'm only on chapter 4. So I've got my hot chocolate here with a stunning V on it. Firstly, my name's in the book. It's throwing me off. There's a character called Victoria and it's throwing me off, but that's okay. Love interest Lucas already has a girlfriend and it's Scarlett's best friend, question mark? What? How? What is happening? What is happening right now? Because I'm pretty sure going for your best friend's man's pretty taboo, even though best friend currently doesn't want to be with man. But still, it's like your best friend's ex. And they've been together for years from the sounds of it. I am intrigued. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay. Reading update. I'm so sorry if I look so tired. I don't know. I slept last night, but I had these really weird dreams and I feel like I didn't really rest. Like, even though I was asleep, I feel like my mind wasn't resting, so I feel really tired today and I couldn't be bothered with makeup, okay? I really couldn't, so we're just gonna deal with me looking like this. I hope that's okay, thank you so much. But I want to give you a reading update on Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I am like 3/4 of the way. I don't think you can see my bookmark. I am on chapter 44, which is page 282. So I have made pretty good progress with this book within 24 hours, which I was definitely expecting. It's an Ali Hazelwood. Hello. But I feel like there is so much to unpack with this book. I definitely think there is a lot more depth to this book, like compared to her other books, even though it is saucier and the spice in this book is a lot more. It's hard because I think there are some scenes that she's written. Again, I haven't finished the book obviously, and there are spicy scenes in this book, but I feel like the spice that it focusing on, I don't know how to talk about this. It's really hard. Okay. It is spicy. And there is a like at the front, not trigger warning per se, but just like a heads up. There's a heads up just to let you know that there are things that are explored in this book that may not be for everybody, and that's okay. And that's so okay. But honestly, like, it's spicy, but from what I was hearing and from what is being discussed in the book, I thought it was going to be spicier. So even though it's definitely more spicy than some of her previous work, I was expecting soup spice, but I'm kind of getting like oh, I don't know, my mind feels so fuzzled right now. This is definitely a character-driven story. There, like, is plot, but there isn't, like, a big plot. This is definitely focused around Scarlett and her own personal challenges and her own personal mental barriers and mental health and the struggles that she's currently going through and currently facing. Like, this is a character-driven book. It's not that her previous works isn't exactly like that, but I do feel like her other works did have more like an actual plot to them, you know? There was an actual storyline that we were following while also following our character's own personal story. Whereas with this one, it's we're more learning about Scarlett, and kind of similar, I guess, in a sense to The Love of My Afterlife. We're learning about Scarlett and why she's struggling with what she's struggling with, why she's kind of battling this mental battle that she's having, and why she has such low self-esteem and why she acts the way she acts. And alongside this, you're obviously getting this story with Lucas, and even though we learn about him and what he's like as a character, this is Scarlett's story 100%. Like, this is her story and her journey, and I am really enjoying it. And there's something about Ali Hazelwood's writing that my dyslexic brain loves. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just fly through her books. It's just such an easy read, and my brain and my eyes love it. So I think I will always love what she writes, just because I can just compute it so smoothly. But I wouldn't say that this is my favourite of hers. Maybe kind of reading this back to back with another kind of character-driven rom-com romance story maybe wasn't the best idea, but then that's the whole point of this vlog. Maybe this would have been better if I read this as like a palate cleanser, like in between heavier books like fantasies or something. But despite that, I'm still really enjoying it. It's not my favourite of hers, but it's not my least favourite. The themes that she's tackling, we're talking a lot about kind of past traumas and how, again, how that can affect you physically, not just mentally. I feel like there are, similar themes to the book I just finished. But romance. Let's talk about the romance quickly. Am I swooning, kicking my feet, giggling at this romance? No. But that doesn't mean it's a bad romance, and it doesn't mean I'm not enjoying it. I'm just not really seeing this as a romance book. It is a romance book, and there is romance. It is a romance book for sure, but I don't think that it's, to me, that's not its core. Its core is not the romance story. That's the like not sideline, but it's not the core of the story. It's not why Ali Hazelwood wants us to keep reading per se. Or, I mean, it is, but it's also not. It's, the romance is kind of a companion, I guess, in my mind anyways. Like the romance that's sparking between Scarlett and Lucas, it's a companion to Scarlett's healing, and it's part of her healing process that she's going through within this story, which is beautiful and something that I can most definitely relate to with my partner. Like sometimes there's that one person that comes along that finally sees you, and you finally feel like you don't have to pretend, or you know, even if you try to pretend, they just see straight through it, and having that relief of not having to wear that mask anymore is so freeing. And that's one of the elements we definitely see Scarlett go through in this story, which is really beautiful. I guess the main plot of this story is Scarlett is battling a mental block when it comes to one of her dives that she does. And it's very much tackling like why she has this mental block, what triggered this block. It happened after she had a big injury, which obviously would scare anybody into wanting to dive again, but she's fully healed and fully physically recovered from the injury, but she clearly hasn't mentally recovered. So the plot is following her through her mental recovery. There we go. There's me being like, there's no plot. There's the plot. But yeah, this is, I would definitely say, Ali Hazelwood's deepest work. And she definitely dives into deeper themes, and she wants to explore that, and I definitely get that through her work. Again, very similar to the book I just read, Love of My Afterlife, Ali Hazelwood also explores friendships and how, you know, not everybody is out to get you, and some people want to be your friends because they want to be your friends, because they like being around you and they like being with you and they genuinely enjoy your company. And that is another thing that Scarlett is learning kind of with her teammates, her diving teammates as well. And the friend that I mentioned in the previous clip about, you know, Lucas and her best friend were dating, like, that is a very beautifully kind of resolved like situation. Like there is no hostility or barriers between the three of them whatsoever. Well, I can say that because there isn't, but there is. But I don't want to like say too much, but the barriers are all in Scarlett's head. I wasn't expecting it to be as, I guess, heavy. It's not super heavy, but for Ali Hazelwood it is. I feel like compared to her previous work, this has a deeper undertone to it. But I think that's what she wanted, and that's what she's delivering. There's my update with Deep End. Deep depth, get it? Deep. I am hoping to finish this today. I would really love to finish this today, because that means I have read the book within 24 hours. But we'll just have to wait and see if I do. I will update you and let you know my final thoughts and feelings. Hello, my loves. So, it is time. We did it. We finished Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Let's discuss. Let's talk about it. To be fair, a lot of the stuff I've already said still stands, even though I was like 50% of the way through. The biggest thing that I would say was that after doing that reading update, I then got into a bit of a slump with it. Not a big slump, but my pace definitely slowed. I was enjoying it and I was reading it, and like I completed it within 2 days. We didn't do my 24-hour Ali Hazelwood usual, but I still found myself reading through it quickly. I just wasn't as invested, I guess. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be comparing this to her previous books, and I don't know if that's going to be part of its downfall because I just wasn't as invested in the characters, I think. Like, I finished this on Valentine's Day, funnily enough. Today is now the 17th, I think. So it's a few days later, and I've been trying to just sit on how I've been feeling about this book. And like, when I first rated it originally on Goodreads, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But then this morning when I was reflecting on it, I was like, I think I'm just giving it 4 out of 5 stars because it's an Ali Hazelwood, and I would feel so guilty giving it anything less. But I ended up bumping it down to a 3.5 stars. Again, but a 3.5 star is still a really good rating. Like, I still really enjoyed this book. I just got into just a bit of a slump in the middle. Like, the first 50% of it was like 4.5 star material for me. I whizzed through it, I was eating it up, loved it. And then, like, when we got to the 50%, the 50 to the 75%, like that quarter just really slowed for me, and I just didn't feel progress, I guess, and it was just getting, I guess, a little bit frustrating in that sense. The last quarter really picked up and went back to like a 4-star material for me, and like third act conflict that happened, I'm kind of surprised it didn't happen sooner. I'm happy that it did happen, because I would have been really surprised if it never happened at all. But I'm just shocked it didn't happen sooner. And it was resolved super quickly, like super duper quickly. Yeah, I think my biggest thing is the pacing. I think the pacing of this book just isn't the same as her previous books. Maybe if she chopped out 100 pages and kept that more fast pace that I'm more used to from her work, then I'd probably enjoy it a bit more. But that is me comparing it to her previous works. I'm sure if this was your first Ali Hazelwood, you would love it. I was reading some of the reviews on Goodreads this morning, and the discussion of the smut in this book is a really interesting one for me, because the disclaimer at the front basically talks about that there's explorations of kink. So I, like most people, have gone into this book expecting Ali Hazelwood to be like dirty, but especially if you're someone that reads like dark romances and things and really gets into like the smutty genres, you'll probably find this quite disappointing. I wasn't taken aback by the smut. I wasn't like, oh my god, this, like, Ali Hazelwood is talking like she's, I think Bride is worse than this. Like, I think Bride, I also think one of her novellas, Under One Roof, I think it's called, which is my favourite novella she's written, I think that is worse than this. And this is supposed to be exploring like BDSM. I don't know what I can say on YouTube. I don't know what's going to get flagged, but like that kind of stuff is what is meant to be explored in this book, and it really is, and this is definitely, there is smut in it. Do not go into this thinking there isn't, because there is. But if you're also going into it thinking it's going to be super explicit, like you're going to get nitty-gritty details of the world of exploring kind of dominant submissive stuff, then you're probably going to be slightly disappointed, because it is not explored as heavily as I think it's been advertised, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I was expecting this to be like 5 chili spice, and it's more 3. I still really enjoyed it. I still had such a good time. All of my positives still stands. I really enjoyed the romance between our 2 characters. But for me, I still agree with the fact that this isn't as much as a romance, it's more a character development story of Scarlett and what she's going through and her mental barriers, her mental battles, rather than it being a love story. And I think that's probably why Ali Hazelwood loved writing it so much. She says that this is one of her favourite books, or her favourite book she's ever written, and I can totally see why, because she explored elements she's dabbled in her previous writing, when it comes to kind of the deeper side of her novels. But with this one, she made that the forefront, and the romance was like the second plot, in my opinion anyways. People may disagree with me, but yeah, that's what I took away from the book anyways. I still really enjoyed it. Ali Hazelwood is still very much an auto-buy for me. And if you're a fan of Ali Hazelwood, definitely pick it up. It is a classic Ali Hazelwood book. I knew I was gonna really enjoy this book because literally on is it the first page? At one point, Scarlett's like, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." And I love that saying. I love that saying so much. It's just like, not my business, babes. It's not my business. Those are my final thoughts on Deep End. And with that, I am going to end the reading vlog here. I tend to get really in-depth when I talk about the books that I read, and I feel like if I added a third book to this vlog, it's going to be over an hour long, and I like to keep my vlogs under an hour. Thank you so much for joining me on this romance reading journey. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a wonderful Valentine's, Galentine's, Brotines, Theytines, whatever way you celebrate this week, month of love. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to end the vlog. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. I usually don't say that, but please do. It helps me out a lot. And please comment. I love reading your comments and replying to your comments. It just makes my absolute day. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I keep saying that. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!